everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. We are really excited to be here to talking about some obscure, underrated this month, underrated animation. We like to do this every month, and I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and my good friend Stanford is here.
Hi.
Hey. So, how are you? How are you holding up during
Hey.
this craziness?
I'm practicing social distancing still.
Yes.
Daily.
Yes.
And staying healthy, and I hope the same for you, my friend. This is a weird time, and thank goodness for movies.
Oh my gosh, yes. I so grateful. It's been challenging, and I haven't been 100% well really since I've had this weird kind of cough and just I don't know, just some weird breathing problems since Sundance. And
Yeah.
but I luckily I got tested and I'm negative on the corona, so it's just one of those sort of colds, the respiratory things.
Grateful for that.
Woo! So grateful. And yeah, I have been I hadn't realized that I had gotten the TCM had been taken from my cable. I hadn't realized because
So
I know. I was like, what?
Boo.
And so I had to sign up because I definitely wanted to watch the festival.
Yes.
Yep.
A couple weeks, yeah.
And I knew they were also having the Mankiewicz weekend also.
Yes.
So I really wanted to watch that. And so I had to add the sports package.
Yes. Isn't that the weirdest thing?
It's so weird.
I mean, that happened to me, months ago. I realized, excuse me, what happened to TCM? So I call Comcast. They're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, without any notice, they just changed the package.
So weird.
It really made me mad. But
I know, and you pay so much anyway for stupid Comcast.
I know, and then you have to get and what are they doing putting TCM with a sports package?
It's
but
so
anyway,
weird. Yeah, it was
weird.
TCM and CMT, which I'm like, is it just the the channels with TCM in them?
Exactly, just those letters.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's been really fun, and I've been watching. I watched yesterday A Letter to Three Wives.
Yeah.
Which was so
that's
good.
Right. It was on yesterday. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was so good. And of course, watching animation and watching stuff for all the podcasts, and it's kind of sad because this month is going to be the spring season of 4 movies from Hallmark. Is going to probably be the last new season that we're going to get for a while. Like, they'll probably acquire and buy some old movies and different things, like Canada movies.
Yeah.
But as far as new movies made by them, because they have such a short window,
right,
of when they shoot and edit and make the movies for Hallmark. So they don't have anything for June Brides. They don't have anything for, to our knowledge at least, anything for June Brides, which is obviously in June. They don't have anything for the summer, and that includes the last mystery that they have finished is the Aurora Tea Garden, which will air on April 14th. And that'll be the last, I think, in April will be one of the last Hallmark movies new for a while. And then it'll be acquisitions and then as soon as they can, they're definitely going to get up there and start shooting. And they really, I mean, by the time June comes around, they're pretty heavy usually into Christmas season.
Yeah.
Christmas shooting season. And right now they only have one Christmas movie shot for 2020 that we're aware of, at least. And so anyway, that's my other part of my life. But it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
For a while, probably until fall. We probably won't get any new Hallmark movies, just because there's no time to shoot them.
Yeah, everything's
it's so weird.
Shut down.
Yeah. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So this month, I thought it would be fun to talk about a movie that I feel is very underrated. And this is actually the second time that I've done a podcast on this movie. It's called Smurfs: The Lost Village. And I usually try not to repeat, but I feel like it's been long enough. Because when it first came out, I was really surprised by the reviews. And I felt like I wanted to to do my part, I guess. And so I had my friend Mike from Cartoon Karma come on, and we discussed the movie. And so that's the other podcast I've done on it. But it was very interesting to go back and look at it again, because it's been this long distance. It's been 3 years.
3 years, right?
Then. Yeah, and it was released in April, so it seemed kind of appropriate. And I don't know, I still find it underrated, especially visually. It's not perfect, but we'll talk about some of the reasons why I like it. But you had never seen this, correct?
Correct. Although I wasn't necessarily against seeing it, I just didn't. I had read about it, just being an animation fan and follower, and it sounded promising. That they were going to return to a more, quote unquote, traditional kind of Smurf story and Smurfs aesthetic.
Yeah.
And which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Because, these live action movies that Sony did, the 2 live action movies, if I'm not mistaken, that they did, were so dreadful. I think I saw the first one and I couldn't bear to see the second one, because it was just like,
yeah,
what in the world? These are
so bad,
horrible,
so bad.
And so I appreciate that Sony Pictures Animation is trying to, I think, in a way, reboot the Smurfs. And I thought that they crafted really quite a nice little movie.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I admire about this movie is that there's 2 kind of different things that can happen in Hollywood. One, you've got a creative vision, you're given at least mostly a chance of executing that creative vision, and yeah, sure, the studio's involved and they have budgets and they have other things, so it's not like total free reign, but for the most part you get to make the film that you want to make. But then there's the other type of experience when somebody says, here, I'm hiring you to direct a Smurfs movie. Go and do it.
Yeah.
And so that's like 2 different experiences. And I guess I really admire, because I feel like this movie would have been so easy to phone in. And
absolutely.
we've had the 2. Nobody's expecting this movie to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's expecting it to have beautiful animation. Nobody's expecting, and you could have just easily just phoned it in, not tried. And I admire the fact that I really think this is the best Smurfs movie you could make. I'm not saying it's perfect, but for a Smurfs movie, they took it seriously and they made the best movie they could make.
Yeah.
And that's what I admire. That's kind of what I admire about the Barbie movies. They have a lot of flaws, but I just admire the fact that these movies that are strictly made to sell toys, period, end of story, they're made to sell dolls, that they're made for kindergartners and under, that they try as hard as they do to make something that's decent. That they try to get decent voice performers, that they try to have pretty good stories, that they have symphony orchestras performing the scores. They don't need to do that. This is for pre-K. Like, they don't need to do that. And so I guess that's why I admire this in particular. And I think that Kelly Asbury, I think that he did the best that he could. And that's all you can really ask from people.
Yeah.
So, it's I think that it wasn't given. Everybody has their reasons for liking or disliking something, and that's fine. But I do feel like there was definitely a predisposition to not like this movie because of the other 2 had been so bad.
Yeah, I think so too. I really think that, I don't know if I'd call it Smurfs fatigue, but I think it was Smurfs a leeriness, or something. Or just like, people were like, ew, no, I don't want to see another Smurfs movie from Sony because those other 2 were dreadful, you know?
I would be so thrilled if one Illumination movie tried this hard. Tried this animation so hard, tried to have a story that actually had meaning, and it wasn't just a bunch of butt jokes. And I would just, but They don't. And
No.
so I don't know. It's really it's an interesting little film, I think, and so I'm excited to talk about it. And I had seen it in the theater. I think I had just I had been able to get. It was in that time when I wasn't on the screening list, but I did the I was doing the thing where I waited in the lines and got in, and that whole thing.
Free pass for the early screening.
Oh wait, no, now I remember. They did a weekend, one day.
Oh, okay.
Saturday.
A Saturday at matinee, kind of before the week before it opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I saw it first. And then I think maybe I even did a screening. I can't remember, but I know they did that.
Yeah, and I think I vaguely remember that because I think I was considering going and something happened and I couldn't go, but
yeah. And so anyway, it's I liked it. I thought it was, so I saw it before everybody else, and then I came and did my review, and I was pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed it. And so let's talk about, did you ever watch the Smurfs, like as a kid?
Not faithfully, but I did. I was aware of the cartoon.
Yeah.
And I think I had family members that liked it, and I've always thought that it was that the characters were cute.
Yeah.
For like, and I know this sounds weird, but I mean I like the shade of blue.
Yeah.
That they were. I thought that was very appealing, and I just thought that the art was very appealing generally.
Yeah, and that was a problem with one of the many problems with the live action version.
Yeah.
Because they kind of look muted and wrinkly and just not very cute.
Whoever created the color of those CGI Smurfs was like, what are you thinking? Like they didn't even match what was going on with Smurfs. That was so weird. So weird to me.
I agree.
Yeah, but so again, not familiar, but not like devoted. You know what I mean?
I knew who they were, but we didn't watch very much television growing up. But like we would watch movies and Disney and stuff like that. But as far as Saturday morning TV, that kind of thing, we hardly watched any of it. And so, but I knew who they were. But anyway, and so this movie, it starts off introducing us to our world, to the Smurf village, and we learn the different Smurfs that we have. We've got we've got Brainy Smurf and Nosy Smurf, and I mean, part of the problem with making a Smurfs movie as opposed to a TV show, which is just 30 minutes, it's not the same. But working with a movie is that because these characters are so defined, you can't really have them grow that much. I mean, it's not that different than the Seven Dwarfs, but the Seven Dwarfs are side characters. They're not the main.
Yeah, they're not the main character. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's only 7 of them. It's a little different than a whole village, but it's hard because you can't have your characters grow much. It's if they are defined as Grumpy Smurf, like what are they gonna, or Grouchy Smurf, like what are they going to do? And I did kind of laugh thinking this time, I'm like, I wonder when they get assigned a name. Like what's the they look at like some little baby Smurf and they're like, I mean, I don't know how they procreate, so who knows?
Right. And how did Papa Smurf get to be Papa Smurf? You
know? I don't know. And get that red hat. That seems to be a token of leadership.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the red hat and the red pants. And
because we see that later.
Yeah.
With Willow, she also has a red hat. And I'm like, what is happening? What's this magic
going on here?
And I mean, you got the eat a table.
Yeah, which they threw in some pretty funny gags, in that, and I thought that opening sequence was really cute because it sets up the story, but then again, it sets up that really glorious animation that they got throughout this film. I thought the character designs were spot on versus again the icky live action hybrid thing, that these characters look like I remember them from the TV show.
Yeah.
You know, from
It's
the 2D.
really inviting,
It
and
is. It's
it just
so
is.
cute.
Mhm.
And yeah, inviting is a perfect word. The just all the different natural elements, all the bugs and things. It's really cute. And
Mhm.
I think instantly, I think any child would just be eating it up. You know, would be totally enjoying it. But I just thought it was well crafted too, and a lot of depth with the CGI, with the backgrounds. I thought the trees were beautiful, and the lighting was really good,
Yeah.
and it just really impressed the animation. Yeah,
Me
throughout.
too. I think that it has a brightness and a color, and
Hmm.
especially once we get into the forest, that is just beautiful,
Yeah,
and
it was really beautiful.
that we really don't see that much in CGI. Uh, in the Trolls movie, they kind of got a little bit of that because of I mean, that movie has lots of problems, but the animation has a felt like quality that looked really cool, and the bright colors and sort of. But I think that I think is even better with that same. And in many ways, I think Trolls is very similar to Smurfs as far as this like little tribe of happy, kind of
Yeah,
people. But I think the story is better here, and I think that the animation is better here because in the Trolls movie, you don't really get like landscapes
right.
in the same thing. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I think that that's probably the biggest way I think this movie is underrated. Is I think the animation is beautiful.
Yeah, I never got tired of looking at it at
Yeah.
all. And some of the movies that are made more on the cheap,
Mm-hmm.
I get instantly fatigued. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like Norm of the North. I mean, that type of
Right.
stuff. Which, I mean, these movies. I know that some of these filmmakers work really hard, but
Yeah.
they just don't look good. You know, and you just like, okay, when is this going to end? I never
Mm-hmm.
felt that way once during the Smurfs movie, which
Yeah.
I thought was really a tribute to the animators.
Yeah. Like I feel like I'm kind of I can be a bit of an apologist for those kind of movies because I don't know, like I can get used to that kind of animation. If the rest of the stuff is good, then I'm like, come on, give it a chance. But like not Norm of the North, that was terrible. But 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 yeah, this is definitely on another discussion
Yeah.
than and I mean I think it's as beautiful as in the most recent How to Train Your Dragon movie when they have the scene where they go and they visit the alphas and you see the fluorescent world of the dragons, and it's beautiful, but I think this is equally beautiful. I really do.
It did a great
So
job.
yeah,
Yeah.
but and we'll strictly talk about some standouts that I have. And so yeah, it's a fun little opening. It Smurfs are what they are. Like they have to work with what they have,
Yeah.
and they're characters that have a distinguishing trait. And so I thought they tried to kind of have fun with it and enjoy that. And then they quickly narrow things down to the four Smurfs, basically. Papa, maybe if you wanted to include it. So the question is that who is Smurfette? Because
Smurfette.
everybody has all these defining characteristics,
Well, and they're all male.
and they're all male. And what's heck about it, because there's this other tribe that's all female. But the thing
Yeah.
about that I kind of wonder, and this is definitely overthinking it, but because in the case of these Smurfs, there is at least one female, so they know the difference, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in the female tribe, they're all women, and if you grew up being all women, would you even know that you're a woman? You know what I'm saying? Like you would
Yeah.
you even know
And,
that there was another thing? I mean, it's just kind of
well,
like the mascara in Wonder
yeah.
Woman.
Yeah, and I don't think that it seemed to me that the women didn't know
Yeah.
that
Like
there were men.
like they would say things like "come on girls" and things like that, but it I think that meant something different
Mm-hmm.
to them than it would to the other, because at least you had one female character
Yeah.
in that tribe, but nobody knows what her purpose is. And so that
yeah,
becomes kind of the theme of the
the
movie.
theme. And then I mean, and it's interesting. I mean, it becomes kind of a Smurfette origin story because, and again, I don't know if this is true to any of the source material. Don't know.
Yeah, me either.
But but it was a good way to set it up. I thought that Smurfette actually was created by the villain of the Smurfs world, Gargamel.
Yeah.
Kind of the wannabe wizard, and he created her out of clay, and with the sole purpose of leading him to the Smurfs to take him out, right?
Yeah.
And that Papa Smurf then uses his magic and turns her good. And
Like I know, and this is a nitpick, but I know that the original design, this is true to the original design, but I don't love Smurfette's character design. She's probably my least favorite of all the Smurfs, especially her high heels. Her heels. I hate that. I hate that.
Well, it seems like it's such a kind of a Minnie Mouse, Daisy Duck kind of thing, you know? And I just wonder again, maybe they were just keeping it true to the source material, but it seems a little out of character as well as like a little out of like what the Smurfs are kind of all about.
Yeah, I mean, they always have in these kind of movies. You have your easy gender identifiers.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of Minnie Mouse, not only is she usually wearing a dress, but she almost always has a bow. Like a bow is a gender identifier.
Yeah.
You would never see a male character with a bow.
Yeah.
So it immediately tells your brain this is a female. And so, which is fine. I'm fine with that, but I'm fine with gender identifiers, but I really don't like the high heels. I just don't like it.
No, that's a good, I mean, I appreciate what you're saying. And with men, it's like they have this funky combo pant shoe thing.
They do. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because they clearly have some kind of shoes because they're the way that, I mean, I don't think that these are shaped right around their feet per se, you know, some kind of protective thing. You need to talk to Peyo or, you know, the
right.
like take us behind the scenes with this clothing design.
Right. So what did you think of Gargamel in the movie? A lot of people are like, oh, he's a sniveling bad guy, but at least for me, especially in 2017, I was kind of glad to see a sniveling bad guy because we've seen so many movies with this big surprise reveal villain.
Yeah.
That I miss movies with sniveling bad guys sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, with the witch at the cauldron and the ha 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 and the laugh and the I miss that. We never get it anymore. And so, you know, in Rainn Wilson, he was having fun, I think.
Yeah. I thought Rainn Wilson was one of the reasons why it worked. And also the animation was really good. You know, I liked it too. And you know, for the reasons that you're saying, is just like he's a villain. And I was so glad, number one, also, it's not like we got some Gargamel origin story either.
Right.
You know?
And we don't need a tragic backstory for every single villain.
Exactly. So I was really happy about that.
Yeah.
And because Gargamel was just bad. And end of story. And he had a fun little interaction with his animal sidekicks, which was stereotypical, but also fun.
Yeah,
because I thought that their character designs were good. The cat and the bird, and
I did too.
And I liked his lair. I liked how he was just. I mean, the cat was always a couple steps ahead of him, and always annoyed with him. And again, it kind of fell into some traditional things, but it was fun and it worked. I thought it worked.
It was nostalgic.
Yeah, absolutely. It really it felt nostalgic, and it just worked. I thought within the context of the movie. And again, I was just sorry, I'm repeating myself. But I was so grateful that they didn't go into some poor Gargamel was a misunderstood child, and so you know he returned into the villain or whatever. And it's like, oh please.
Yeah, I agree.
He's just the villain.
Yes. And so, you have Azrael the cat, Monty the bird that were a lot of fun. And And then you find out that Gargamel created Smurfette, and I did like the little joke with when Hefty is trying to like give them some kind of communication. I was like, and I think it's Brit. No one understands your hand signals. That made me laugh because I am the worst. If somebody's trying to kind of mouth something to me, like across the room, and they think they're being super clear, I have any idea what they're talking about ever. And so that made me laugh. And and so Smurfette, basically, she sees these Smurfs, and she thinks she's worried because the Gargamel is now looking for this lost village. He's found this map, and so she's worried that he's going to come and take them. And so she decides to go on this journey where she is going to try to tell them and find them. And one little thing that I thought was so cute was that little like ladybug camera.
Oh, I love that character
thing. That was so cute. It was such a clever idea.
That was such a clever idea, and I agree with you. And they used it in really good ways in the story, and I thought it was something too that would probably really resonate with kids, because they're all familiar with their parents having cell phones, or they're playing with the cell phone themselves and using it. And I really liked that ladybug too. I thought how it was a printer, kind of a camera, and all these different things that it would do. Recorder. Yeah.
And I don't love the pop songs in the movie. I think that's a flaw.
Well, I got to tell you, that's probably one of my main complaints. And I know we probably go into more detail with that through scene by scene, but I'm with you. I didn't like the pop songs, and I wondered about. I mean, I knew that Demi Lovato was the voice of Smurfette, because they were advertising that big time. When the movie was in theaters, and I kind of wondered about that. Again, I'm not a Demi Lovato hater. I'm not a fan. I think I'm probably more ignorant than anything, just because I know that she had stuff on Disney Channel, and she's got she's a recording artist, and she sang "Let It Go" at the end of the Frozen credits.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
I think that all of the voice cast is, for the most part, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think that it was a total waste of money. I mean, and we can say this about many films, but even something like Frozen 2, some of that casting did not need the voice talent for like hardly any time at all.
2 lines or whatever they gave them.
Yeah, Sterling Brown, like his character, what? But I mean, this cast is so bloated, so bloated for characters that I mean, literally have one scene that that I mean, maybe some people had fun with the fact that Gordon Ramsay is the baker, but
I mean, it's kind of a throwaway thing too. It's like maybe an adult would get it, maybe wouldn't. I really like and I admire Mandy Patinkin a lot. I thought it was an interesting choice for Papa Smurf. Maybe not my first choice.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But still, I mean, it was the choice they went, and I was like, well, I'm glad that at least they got a kind of an A-list actor. I mean, he was really good actor.
I mean, since he's basically the narrator, you need I have no problem having a big name talent for that.
Yeah.
And really, any of the 4 lead characters, then it's. I mean, and granted, they probably just got pay. Like, I don't think that they got like tons of money for coming in, and Gordon Ramsay wasn't getting tons of money, but nevertheless, I do think it was a very bloated cast, and it's annoying for somebody who values voice actors and the amazing work that they do. That this happens, but I did like. I think my favorite of the cast is probably Jack McBrayer.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jack McBrayer. I mean, he's just so fun in anything he does, right? And I felt like he was really trying to make Clumsy its own character. It wasn't like it was just Fix It Felix, with the different. I thought he was really trying, but Yeah, it's still so distinctly him. Jack McBrayer. You just instantly know. You hear it, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's Jack McBrayer."
Yeah.
Some of the other ones I had to look up, like, who's Brainy? And I know that he's an animation voice actor, Danny Pudi, but I didn't recognize him right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, Jack McBrayer is a voice actor.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He does, like, he was on Wander Over Yonder.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other stuff. So it's more so than like, why did they need Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts.
What? Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was not necessary at all.
Michelle Rodriguez. I mean, I know that they needed to find somebody with some serious attitude, which Michelle Rodriguez is really good at doing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Julia Roberts, though, that was the one. Really?
Yeah, and that one probably was expensive to get.
I bet. Yeah, and not that she had that many lines either, but I bet it was because she doesn't show up until what, Act 3 or the end of Act 2.
Like, it would have made way more sense to have like Angela Lansbury as Willow, but what are you gonna do? Yeah. But anyway, so what did you think of Hefty in this movie? Because it's kind of weird. Like, in one way, I kind of like the fact that you have this sort of jock type character that's actually sweet and kind of, I don't know, that sweet and protective and in a good way. In other ways, he's kind of weird. The way he keeps saying things like, well, I've always thought you were pretty, like, just in things that it's like, he says things like that should be kind of awkward, but then the script doesn't treat it as awkward.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I didn't think that the character of Hefty was really that great.
Yeah.
It's Joe. I always forget how you pronounce his name. Manganiello?
Mella, something like that. Yeah. Like, it was kind of weird. Like, he was sort of possessive of her.
Yeah.
Calm down. Like,
I thought that was I thought a little weird. I mean, clearly he was the one who was at least vocalizing the strongest feelings for Smurfette.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe, the idea was they would get together. They don't in the movie. Spoiler alert.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody gets together with Smurfette. But and I felt, again, it was just, I guess, just a choice from the filmmakers, as far as here they had to put 4 characters together that were going to have some conflict, and and just in one of those kind of team situation movies, and so those are the stereotypes that they picked. So I just, again, and
it's not a deal breaker, but it was
it wasn't a deal breaker, and it was kind of funny. And he's got that tattoo,
got his heart on his sleeve,
right? Which is kind of funny, but then also kind of like, what, the Smurf with the tattoo, So
there were moments in this. I didn't love the songs, but I did like the score pretty well, I think. And it's by somebody named Christopher Lenertz. I don't know even what else he's done.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with his work either. Yeah. But I thought the score was solid. Yeah,
that's what I'd say. Solid.
Much better than any of the pop songs. The
agreed.
Pop songs, I hated the pop song. I mean, hate's a strong word, but I really didn't care for the pop songs. But the animation around them was fun. So that kind of kept me watching.
Agreed.
Whereas I was still like rolling my eyes, like, are you kidding me? Who picked this music?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not the target audience. I wonder if the target audience liked the music, or if they even really knew or cared,
But I did love, I thought it was a pretty funny joke when Papa Smurf comes in and finds them, and it's like the first one is the whole movie trope where you put stuff under the bed to try to look like you're in there, and he's like, and the final one it's like apples or whatever, and he's like, you're not even trying. That made me laugh. That was
those are good gags, I thought too. And good, just kind of good editing, for lack of a better term, just the way that the pacing is good in this movie too, which I
Yeah,
think
it's
is
only 90 minutes.
Yeah, which is a real strong point because I never felt like it really dragged once. Everything just kept moving, and I kept waiting for it just to be stupid, and it never really did. You know,
Yeah.
it just and I don't mean to digress us from our or take us off direction here from our narrative
Yeah.
discussion, but still though that was something that just impressed
Yeah.
me
I think
about it.
so. Me too. And so you see this when they get in the village, not the village, in the forest, and there's the whole scene with the flowers trying to eat them, and then you see that same thing happen to Gargamel and the and his group there.
Yeah.
And then you see that Clumsy gets the dragonflies eggs, and I thought that was beautiful, like the dragonflies. They looked really pretty. The color.
Yeah. I again just tribute to the animators because it's really it looks that lighting of those was really pretty. Yeah.
And then I loved the whole scene in the tunnels, not only just for the colors and the atmosphere and everything, but also I thought the editing was really solid in those scenes.
Yeah.
It would go from a one shot to a blocked 3 shot. You'd see all of the you'd see the panels showing all of the tunnels
Yes.
on the screen, and I thought that just they had those test tube lights, and so that created a cool environment. And then when you see the rabbits and their light, it just looked cool.
I agree.
I like that.
I thought what they did with those translucent rabbits was really great. So you mentioned kind of that How to Train Your Dragon stuff, but just the colors they were able to get were really neat, really striking. And just something that you just haven't really. I haven't really seen a lot.
Yeah.
Of in CG animation.
Yeah, and then when they get outside, the music changes to sort of a Western sort of motif going on as they're riding the rabbits down the valley, basically.
Yeah,
so that was really well done, and and there's some funny jokes too in those scenes, like Clumsy and I've eaten I've eaten all my rations. thing.
Poor Clumsy is having a breakdown.
I know, I'm freaking out.
Which again, perfect for Jack McBrayer,
Yeah. And so everything in the forest is just like we said it a million times, so beautiful. And I really just enjoyed that, and particularly once they get to the river. I think the double river with the river in the sky or whatever is, I really think it's some of the most beautiful CGI animation since WALL-E. That might sound over the top, but I just think that is gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, I agree. Beautiful.
I really do.
Yeah.
And so then and basically, like, Smurfette at this point thinks that her mission in life is to find these Smurfs and to warn them. That's her job. And so it's interesting. You have a scene on the river where Hefty decides to save Gargamel, and Brainy doesn't want to, and there's sort of a battle between the two of them. And and also Brainy gets his guidebook destroyed. Because he's like a Boy Scout, I guess, in the Smurfs.
Yeah.
Smurfs world. And you don't actually meet the new Smurfs until the 48-minute mark.
Yeah.
In a 90-minute movie.
Well, yeah, it's almost like the third act, the end of the second act is when we finally meet this, lost village, the inhabitants of the lost village.
Yeah. And I think it's tricky in this day and age to make a movie with such clear sort of gender division. Like these things are girls, these things are boys. And, that's controversial these days, but I feel like they did just about as good a job as possible to do. But I felt like there wasn't like only sort of girls going to the salon and shopping or something like that. Like there was a number of different personalities, different types, and
it was almost just like identical with the boys' village, in that they had these different types, and they were really nature oriented. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the Star Wars comparison, but I was calling them the Smurf Ewoks.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, they live in the trees, and they use a lot of leaves and things as part of their uh,
Mm-hmm.
clothing and some
Yeah.
of their battle gear.
And I thought that was so cute. I
It's all
liked the
really
designs.
natural. I like the design a lot,
Yeah.
and they're yellow. They're wearing
Mm-hmm.
yellow togs, and those cute Smurf hats, and again, a very complementary color, I thought, to just to the whole color palette,
Yeah.
and it looked great.
And yeah, I agree with you. I thought they were really cute. And, you have Smurf Blossom and Smurf Willow are probably the two main characters.
Yes,
And Surf Blossom is super, hyperactive and whatever. And
she's
uh,
Ellie Kemper. Is that right? Am I saying that the name of that
yeah,
actress right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So that was cute. I
yeah.
liked that. And like
She
Julia
was good.
Roberts is, yeah, it's Smurf Willow. Julie Roberts is fine. It was just completely unnecessary for her to
Yeah.
be in the role. She's fine. But when we find out that Gargamel accidentally read the map wrong, and so he's going to the swamp of no returns. And probably my favorite joke in the whole movie. Maybe this is puerile, but I thought it was funny. He gets bit on the butt by the piranha or whatever, and he's like, "Oh no, they're bottom feeders."
I laughed at that joke.
That made me laugh. That was funny.
And just great delivery by Rainn Wilson,
Yeah.
and great animation. Just
Yeah, I liked the whole world of the Swamp of No Return.
yeah, I did too. I thought it was really funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And so eventually Gargamel gets back to the village, and the girl Smurfs think that Smurfette has basically brought Gargamel to them, the reverse of what's actually true. And so, they're really mad at her, and so Smurfette is really sad, and he ends up taking a bunch of them into cages and whatever. And so she says, I'm not a real Smurf. And we also Papa Smurf comes, and they all get frozen and taken, and the little ladybug, she draws a picture of the four main Smurfs to cheer Smurfette up and remind her. That was really cute.
That was cute too.
Yeah. And so basically Gargamel's trying to get the Smurf magic from the Smurfs, and there's like this extractor kind of machine or something going on. And so they have so Smurfette comes and tries to pretend that she's on Gargamel's side to try to distract him so that they could get out. And then there's this kind of magic battle between her and Gargamel, and everybody gets free, but then but Gargamel ends up back in the swamp of no return.
Yeah.
And so this is where I like the ending to the movie, but I do think it's they maybe took themselves a little too seriously.
Yeah.
And this is a Smurfs movie. I don't think we need a Christ metaphor. Like,
yeah.
It's a little much.
It was that was a little much for me. I mean, I appreciate the sacrifice of Smurfette, because Smurfette actually, by saving, by combating Gargamel, while he gets kicked out and flown to the outer regions, she turns back into clay.
Right.
Where she,
it gets a total Christ metaphor.
Oh, absolutely.
She sacrifices herself for her people. She is like, she's gone for a couple days. I don't know how long. And then she rises. She's resurrected back.
Yeah. And
that was a little much for.
Yeah, that was a little much. And the whole kind of Snow White thing going on too, with all the sad Smurfs and stuff over it.
And them saying she was the truest Smurf of all.
I
didn't know. And
which I didn't love that. I mean, because clearly it's just like, well, she's coming back. I mean, not that I knew that for sure, but it's like, she's got to be coming back.
Yeah.
But that was not my favorite.
Like, I feel like she could have just rescued them, and that's fine. And oh, you really did, love us all along, and there you go. That's and I don't think she needed to come back from the grave.
Well, and I again, maybe I don't want Mitch to overthink it. And again, I'm not that familiar with the source material, so my apologies for that. But I don't really understand the Smurf magic because
yeah,
Papa Smurf, when Smurfette shows up and she's like at the very beginning of the film and she's straight from Gargamel and she's like straight up evil.
Right.
You like just goes all Captain EO on her and changes her. You like
yeah,
whatever stuff he's shooting at her. And she changes into Smurfette, and I was expecting them to be like kind of sad for a minute, and then for Papa Smurf to do the same thing, to like shoot the magic things out of his hands, but it took the whole village, kind of gathered around her, and then I don't know how long they were crying around her, but they were all holding hands, whatever. Anyway, I don't understand this Smurf now.
I don't understand it either. And then the movie ends with a dance montage, which
the dancing is cute. I hate that song, but that's
yeah. I mean, I don't like the song, and I hate that trope in animated films.
I do too.
Like, and all the studios are
they're guilty of it.
All of them. We got it into Zootopia. We got it in
Zootopia. I mean, it's in it's in everything from Mulan to
it was in well, certainly Shrek movies for sure.
Oh yeah,
have it. I think is it. I feel like there's other Disney movies that have it, but my mind is. I think in Hercules they have it. There's just a bunch of animated films who have the dancing montage to end the movie, and I hate that trope. I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's not like I'm anti-dance, but it's just I just feel like it's so lazy. It's like, okay, we're out of story. Now let's end with dancing.
Everybody dance, and we'll just kind of do like some sight gags, and and I didn't care for the song, and it was just like, but again, the characters are cute, but
So there we go. That is Smurfs: The Lost Village. Thoughts from Twitter. Jaden says, I saw it in theaters when it first came out, and I actually really liked it and find it really underrated. Christian Paystrop, he says, honestly, I haven't seen it. I do remember at least seeing the trailers. Alonzo Giraldi says, the only Smurfs movie I liked. I agree. Andrew Garrison says, yeah, of the 3 most recent Smurf films, I would say it was by far my favorite. And then Matthew Arnholt says, I enjoy the Smurfs anyway, so it had that working for me. Plus, never had the weird I hate Sony Animation bias some had pre-Spider-Verse. Some pretty animation, a fun story, and a voice cast that filled their roles well. I mean, in fairness, I think that Sony earned that reputation with making a string of terrible films.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, but I also think that you have to judge each film as its own. There will be no human being more thrilled than if I go to see an Illuminations film and I am blown away and I think it's great. I will be singing that film's praises for days because I want them to make a great movie.
Yeah.
I don't have, it's not like I'm like out to get Illumination. I just think most of their movies have been trash. Mm-hmm. And I want them to make a good movie so bad. And so, I think these people that just have this weird bias about an animation company, it's just silly and stupid. Because anybody has the potential to make a good movie. These are talented animators. So anyway, that's what I think. Let's see here. The Reg Arm, he says, this is one of those animated movies I will defend as being perfectly okay. Thomas Blaylock says, I enjoyed it, and I wonder what the critics were expecting. It's a Smurfs movie. Of course, it's not super deep. And then, Boy says, it was an okay movie, 6 out of 10. I personally liked it, but I felt the story dragged on a bit too much. But the animation was very good, the setting was beautiful, and it had a heartwarming ending. And then Spectre Trolls Hype says, I love this movie, but it was far, far too late to be made as Smurfs live action films, destroyed the branding. Plus, it didn't help that Trolls stole all their popularity a year and a half before this film came out. So there you go. I guess no, was Trolls? I was thinking it was later, but I guess was it the year before? Was that 2016? Could be. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, so there we go. That's some thoughts from Twitter and about Smurfs: The Lost Village. So yeah, let us know if you're listening what you think about this film, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so, Stanford, where can people find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Stanford Clark, and I also have a movie blog and podcast at moviespastandpresent.com.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. I just did 2 reviews today posted up to Rotten Tomatoes. So still trying to put out content and still trying to stay as active as a critic as I can. So I would love your thoughts on all of that. And make sure you check out our Patreon page, which the support is so appreciated right now. Really, really means a lot to us. And then we also have our merch store, which you get #animation junkie shirts, and they're really fun. So check that out. And thanks again for talking about this movie with me. And we will talk again in a couple next month about another obscure animation. If you have any suggestions for obscure animation, put those in the comments section. And yeah, we'll talk next month. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.